Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Inshallah, today there is a presentation by our student Ahmad Abdul Tawab. This is the presentation for the first assignment on chapter 1. Okay, Ahmad, you can present now.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Ahmad Abdul Mustafa, student Master Islamic Banking, for UNISHAM. Okay. Today I have a presentation about my project paper, chapter 1. It's about the history Islamic banking in the world and Militia also. Okay, let's begin. Slide 1. History of Islamic banking in the world side. The first attempt to establish Islamic banking was in 1915 in the rural area in Pakistan. Beyond and was deposit the funds without industry work. Credit was advantage of the poor organization involvement. Also, there was no shortage of powers for depositor. It was one and for all effort. Distributor of conservative interest on how the money rounded out. Okay, second slide. 24th of July 1963 until February 1967. Melgara Islamic Savings Bank started by Egypt by Al Nagar. Al Nagar is Dr. Ahmed Abdulaziz Al Nagar, who was the first established Islamic banking in Egypt. Based on German savings bank, purpose of the mobilize in the ID7 of the majority of Muslim within the Sharia and to provide halal return to their savings as well. Al Nagar was an academic himself, managed the staff. Okay, when we talk about the history of Islamic financial institution, in 1915, a small interest-free bank was established in rural area, donated to all the poor and owner for agriculture involvement in this had no lesser impact. 1963 until 1967, Egypt, Gamar, established by Al-Nagar from the model of German savings bank, successful, but later it is due to some political reasons. 1963 in Militia, we're going to found this corporation. The one Hajj, the first bank in Malaysia was for Hajj and Umrah for Muslim in Malaysia. To enable people to save in some money for Hajj and Umrah. The first, the starting when 1291 registered member was 46,000 ringgit, Malaysian ringgit. After that, 4 million depositor with more the USD billion in 2004. 1951, Egypt. Nasser Social Bank was established as a social bank, not as profit-oriented industry. It was served the unbankable low income group. In Saudi Arabia, Jeddah, 1975, IB was established as a government initiative to foster the economic and the social development as member countries. And in Dubai, 1975, Dubai Islamic Bank was established as for the first major Islamic concern bank, started the service in IFSS. In Sudan, 1977, Faisal Bank of Sudan was established. 1977, Faisal Bank of Egypt was established. In Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, 1978, Center of Research in IE in KUA was established. The first individual established IPF. In Bahrain, 1979, Bahrain Islamic Bank was established. And 1983, in Malaysia, Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad was established. Also in Philippines, 1973, Philippines Amanah Bank was established, designed to service to special banking needs to Muslim community. The structure and Islam banking are interest based on operation still coexist. Also in Europe, Luxembourg Purge, Islamic Foundation House was established, and today was done. We have many banks right now, like Citibank, Militia, HSP Bank, also Islamic Financial Service, IPP, Regression, Libya, in America, established some over IFS. In Bahrain, 1991, recognizes the need for standard. According an attitude organization for IF was established. 2002, Malaysia, IF Service Board, IFSP, was established. This to end investment and fundamental and supervisor standard and core principles that are in components of Sharia. Today, several IFAs were established to create, regulate, and support of energy. IFAs, example, International Islamic Rating Agency, IRA, example. Okay, now we're talking about Islam banking in Malaysia. In Malaysia, the Islamic banking system is side by side with the conventional banking system. In 1993, commercial bank financial companies begin to offer Islamic banking product and service under the Islam banking Sharia IBF banks. The IBS bank have to separate the funding of activities of the Islamic banking transaction from the non-Islamic banking business confession. Islamic banking in Malaysia began in September 1963 when what they call PWSPH was established. PWSPH was set up as institution for Muslims to save for Hajj, to go to Mecca for Hajj and Umrah. Experience in 1969, PWSPH married with Pejabat Haji from sorry, I don't know how to speak this Malay, so yeah. Second, the purpose of the money management and funds promote and accumulate savings from the Muslim according to all aspects of bank activities under by members. The first Islam Bank in Malaysia established in 1983. Commercial banking member bank and financial companies were allowed to offer Islamic banking products and service under the Islamic IBS. These institutions are required to separate the funds and activities of Islamic banking transaction from that of one commercial banking business to ensure that there will be any quality of funds. We go to principle of Islamic banking. We have order, we have gambling, we have profit and loss sharing, and Sharia risk and riba. So we talk about qarar. According to Islamic financial principle, Muslims are not allowed to participate in the commerce and transaction. According to Islamic rules, both parties should have purpose control over the business, as well as complete information should be shared with both parties so that the profit and loss is equally shared. Gambling. In Islam, record of ways to the names purpose in gambling in profit. It will prevent the Muslim from the confusion insurance product business because the type gambling on the one one other hand, Islamic banking working in the takaful that involves mutual responsibility and Sharia principle of Islamic banking. Profit and loss in Sharia is one of the best of principles of Islamic function, whereas parties will share their profit and loss according to the parties they played in the business. There will be guarantee on the rate of the return of the Muslim will be play of the party that not creditor. Shared risk in economic transaction, the risk sharing the by Islamic banking when two or more parties are all shared risk following the principle of the Islamic banking. Also in Islam, Assalamualaikum.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
Yes, you can hear me, right?
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Alhamdulillah. I think the line in my area is pretty bad, right?
Yeah. Now it's okay.
I'm very sorry, sir. Alhamdulillah.
Okay. So, in order to improve your chapter 1, first thing you need to write about the problem statement. Okay, so
yeah, I have already right. Yes, but I don't mention in I don't mention in the sorry. I don't mention in the slide presentation, but I have already. Alhamdulillah. Yes.
Okay. So let me share one example of the chapter 1.
Okay.
Okay. So chapter 1 is introduction.
Yes.
Something is wrong. Can you see now? Chapter 1 is introduction, right? Can you see?
Yes, now I can see right now.
Okay. So the first topic should be overview.
Okay.
Okay, overview. Then you write about a background of the study, which is what you mentioned,
Yes.
the history of
Okay.
the Islamic banking.
Okay.
Okay. Then this is background of the study. For example, the history of
Yeah,
Islamic
yes.
banking. And then problem statement, you try to look at the data of
Okay.
Islamic banking total deposit and the Islamic
Okay.
and the conventional banking total deposits.
Okay. Okay.
In Malaysia, for example, you can, let's see, you can Google,
Okay.
you type Islamic banking versus conventional banking in Malaysia. Then
Okay.
they will give some data, and you will find that conventional banking in Malaysia still dominates the Islamic banking.
Yes. Yes.
So you mentioned something like that on the problem statement.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So the problem is in Malaysia, the conventional banking still dominates the Islamic banking, which means there are many Muslims and also non-Muslims who have not used Islamic banking in dealing with their financial needs. So so
Yeah. Yes. Yes. I agree with you, sir.
so that is the problem, because in Malaysia
Okay.
you can also mention that the population of Muslims
Okay.
you can search also Muslim populations in Malaysia. So it will give the data. So I'm not sure about the number, but you can search in Google. The Muslim populations in Malaysia, I think, is more than 60%.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Inshallah, I'll try to check it.
so you can state that the Muslim populations is more than 60%. Yet the use of Islamic banking
Yes, sir.
is still very low compared to the use of conventional
Yes.
banking. So that be your problem statement.
Yeah. Yes. Actually, the current profit Islam banking in the world, not in Malaysia only, is very low until now.
Yeah, still very low. And
Yeah. And not in Malaysia only, also in Egypt, also in Arab countries, also in the world, in Europe, America, it's
yeah,
still same.
yeah. If you have data, you can mention, the data in many different countries. So when you write, you need to support
Inshallah, inshallah.
from the data. And then for your research questions, I would suggest that this time you try to generalize uh, all, not just non-Muslims. Instead of just you say non-Muslim, okay, you can say uh, um, instead of non-Muslim, you can say customers in Malaysia. It includes Muslims and non-Muslims. Okay, so because if you specify only non-Muslims, then you have to justify why you choose only non-Muslims. Because the data on non-Muslims usage of Islamic banking in Malaysia is, I think, not available. So you don't have to restrict to non-Muslims. So you can say the awareness among customers in Malaysia of Islamic banking and products. Number two are non-Muslims. You can say are the caste are the instead of non-Muslim, you just mention the what's the word? Maybe customers.
That means, sir, I have to do for Muslim and non-Muslim,
Yeah,
both of them, right?
yeah. I think you include both Muslims and non-Muslims.
Yeah. Okay.
And then number three, okay, it's about knowledge and understanding. And yeah, we can still discuss. In order to do the research questions, we need to identify your theoretical framework. You can come and see me and we can discuss the dependent variables and the dependent and the independent variables that
Yeah, inshallah, sir. I'll
that,
come to
yeah,
room, inshallah.
yeah. So we will find the variables, the dependent and the independent variables that you want to include. By identifying the variables, then you can make the necessary adjustment to your research questions. And you need also to write research objectives. Okay. So you need to write research questions and then research objectives and then scope of study and maybe a significance of the study. Okay. Significance of study consists of theoretical significance. Why is it significance from theory? Why is it significance from practical? I think that if you can also write about limitations. Limitation means maybe some of the data is difficult to obtain, and then structure of the thesis explain how many chapters are in your dissertation or in your thesis. So for the purpose of the class, you need to write only 3 chapters. But for the purpose of thesis, you need to write 5 chapters. Usually chapter 1 is introduction. Chapter 2 is your literature review. Okay, chapter 2 should be literature review.
About the review. Yeah.
Yeah, and then chapter 3 is research methodology. You can look at this thesis and then you look at how we write the chapter on research methodology. You should have introduction, your chapter 3, research design, and then theoretical framework. Okay. you need to develop your theoretical framework. So this is just an example, something like this. We will discuss what your theoretical framework will look like.
Yeah,
And,
inshallah, sir. Inshallah, we'll see this. Yeah.
yeah, and then for chapter 3, you need to explain your variables, what are the variables that you want to include, and then data, how you want to collect the data, who your respondents are, and then you need to develop the questionnaire, okay, unit of analysis, uh, who will be your respondents, and population and sampling, okay, what is the population and what is the sampling, okay, okay. So you can improve your chapter 1
Yeah, yeah, inshallah, sir.
and continue writing chapter 2 and also your chapter 3. Okay,
Yeah, yeah. Processing right now, chapter 2 and 3.
okay, okay, good. All right.
Yeah, alhamdulillah.
Okay. So I want to share. Okay, I want to share something.
Yes, sir. I'm with you.
Okay, I want to share something. Let's see. Okay, so I want to share a little bit about the quantitative data analysis that you need to write in your chapter 3. Can you see the slide or not? Can you see?
Yes, yes, I can see.
Okay. So I want to talk a little bit about quantitative data analysis because you use your research is quantitative. So quantitative data analysis means analyzing data that is numbers based, that has numbers or that have data that can be easily converted into numbers. So quantitative data analysis is typically used to measure differences between groups, relationships between variables, and to test hypotheses. So in quantitative data, you need to develop hypothesis and test the hypothesis. So when we do quantitative research, uh, we are involved with quantitative data. When we talk about quantitative data, means that we need to analyze the data that are shown in numbers. It has numbers, so it involves statistics. So statistical analysis methods and techniques are the engine that powers quantitative data analysis. And these methods and techniques can vary from very simple basic calculations, and it can be more sophisticated analysis. For example, correlations, regressions, and partial least squares, uh, structural equation modeling, which are very complicated. So there are two main branches of statistical methods or techniques that are used. Number one is descriptive statistics. Descriptive statistics where the data is shown in terms of numbers and in terms of frequencies. So that is called descriptive statistics, which is not too difficult. And the second type is inferential statistics. Inferential statistics means uh, once you get the data, you analyze, you want to make inference from the findings, you want to make the inference. So inferential statistics is, I would say, uh, more complicated in a sense that it involves um, more statistical techniques. So in your research, you might only use descriptive statistics, and you might use both statistics, descriptive statistics, and also inferential statistics. So what is descriptive statistics? Descriptive statistics serve as a simple but critically important role in your research to describe your data set. In other words, the descriptive statistics help you understand the details of your sample. Your sample means part of the population, because oftentimes it's very difficult to study the whole population, and it is much more manageable to study the sample. So the descriptive statistics will help you understand the details of your sample. Um, Descriptive statistics are not aiming at making inferences. So descriptive statistics is usually expressed in tables or in graphs, uh, and it doesn't make any inference about the population. The descriptive statistics are just interested in the details of your specific sample. Some common statistical techniques include mean, median, standard deviation or variance, skewness. So those are the techniques. mean, median, standard deviation or variance, and skewness. The second type is inferential statistics. Inferential statistics aim to make inferences about the population. In other words, inferential statistics aim to make predictions about what you would find in the whole population. This could include predictions about, for example, differences between groups, relationship between variables. For example, relationships between, between attitude and compliance. How attitude can have the relationship or the supposedly causal relationship on the compliance. So the variables depends on the researchers. So one of the purpose of inferential statistics is to test whether the variables are related or how one variables influence the other variables. In other words, inferential statistics allow you to connect the dots and predict what will happen in the real world based on what researchers observe in the sample data. For this reason, inferential statistics are used for hypothesis testing. In other words, testing statements of change or of difference. So when you're working with inferential statistics, the composition of your sample is really important. In other words, if your sample doesn't accurately represent the population that you're researching, then your finding won't necessarily be useful. That is, you cannot make any inference from your sample to the whole population. So for example, if your population is a mix of 50% male and 50% female, but your sample is 80% male, then you cannot make inferences about the population based on your sample since it is not representative. Population is defined as a complete group of entities which share common characteristics. Zickman, 2013. And sample size, so you need to determine sample size based on the population size. So the sample size is determined after determining the sampling frame. One of the methods of determining sample size is based on Cauchy and Morgan, 1970. To calculate the sample size, Cauchy and Morgan used the following formula: S equals chi-squared NP 1 minus P divided by D squared and minus 1 plus chi-squared rho times 1 minus P. Chi-squared P in bracket 1 minus P, where S is the sample size, chi-squared equals to 3.841 is the table value of chi-square for 1 degree of freedom. N is the population size, P is population proportion assumed to be 0.5, and D is the degree of accuracy expressed as a proportion, usually at 5%. So this is the table of the Cauchy and Morgan table. If you don't want to use the formula, you can simply refer to the table. For example, if your population is, for example, 30,000, right? So the sample size is 379. If your sample is 40,000, your sample size is 380. So you just follow the table, the Crisci and Morgan table. Some of the common inferential statistical techniques include t-test. T-test compares the averages of two groups of data to assess whether they are significantly different or not. In other words, do they have significantly different means or averages, standard deviations, and skewness? ANOVA, similar to t-test, but ANOVA allows you to analyze multiple groups, not just two groups. Correlations try to assess relationship between two variables. In other words, if one variable goes up, does the other variable also go up or go down or stay the same? Regressions is the purpose of regression is to understand the causal relationship among the variables. What variable cause what variable? So this is called the cause and effect between the variables. So in the regression, we have dependent variable and independent variables. So independent variables are or sometimes called explanatory variables, are the variables that cause the dependent variables. And the dependent variable is the variable that we wish to study. In other words, does one variable actually cause the other variable to move? Or do they just happen to move together naturally thanks to another force? So that's what regression is trying to do. Okay, so inshallah in the next class we will discuss a more advanced statistics called partial least squares structural equation modeling, inshallah. Tomorrow we will have class at 9 o'clock, inshallah, tomorrow morning. And we will discuss advanced statistics called PLSM, partial least squares structural equation modeling, inshallah.
Tomorrow? Inshallah, inshallah.
Tomorrow, inshallah, we will have class at 9 o'clock. We will continue with chapter 8 on advanced statistics.
Tomorrow, sir? Tomorrow? This week?
Tomorrow, Sunday, right?
Yes.
No, tomorrow we will have class, inshallah, 9 o'clock.
Inshallah.
In the morning.
Inshallah, inshallah.
Okay. So that's all the class for today.
Inshallah. So,
you have any question? Okay, if there's no question. Okay, inshallah, we will have class tomorrow
no question.
At 9 o'clock, inshallah.
Inshallah, inshallah.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.